Hey, thanks so much for finding the video. Do us a favor. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Be sure to leave your comment. We love to interact. Enjoy the video. OTAs. So the Saints aren't doing any on-field work for OTAs?
That was kind of a little surprising from Sean Payton this morning.
Right.
Like they had the Saints Hall of Fame golf tournament in Kenner, and he didn't meet with the media too long, but he managed to say that, A, they weren't going to be doing traditional OTAs or even maybe mini camps, and B, that they had about 87% participation, which I think it's hard to approximate 87%. So, that's probably a spot on number. And if you do 87%, and then if there's a 90-man roster, then that means that's about 78 players. But I don't think they have 90 yet. But I digress. But still, I find this curious just because of the issues that they're walking into the season with. Of course, at quarterback, and you can go in every single position group, maybe outside of running back. Every other position group, though, I feel like on the team has some sort of question mark, whether it's very, very important, like corner, or not as important, say, at safety. But still, I'm kind of surprised at that, and I'm wondering when we get moving how much maybe that changes, because I can't see them having access to OTAs and not using them as on-field practices. To me, I think that would be foolish.
Is there any word anywhere else in the NFL teams doing that?
I will say that I don't know which team, but I have heard of at least one other team trying to do that. And it's more about me wondering, okay, what kind of access do we have as media? Because we have access to OTAs and we have access to interviews. So I'm curious about that. And because people want to know what's going on, we want to know what's going on. And so it's something that I'm curious to see where we go from here, from today's statements from Sean Payton.
Okay, so based on this premise, then, the Saints may not be on field until training camp?
Well, they might be running around and doing conditioning and things like that. Well, all of this, a lot of this comes down to, remember, maybe a month ago, where the Saints as a collective unit said, hey, we're not even going to participate in OTAs. Right. We're not showing up. And so a lot of teams have, their coaching staffs have scaled back what they're doing. I remember reading one team saying that when they go through walkthroughs, all of the walkthroughs, everyone is allowed to wear flip-flops if they want to, meaning there's no running and there's no really doing anything. So they're trying to encourage players to do that. But it's also a thing where Sean Payton is a different coach than others. I'm curious to see, like I say, where this goes. But still, this all kind of spurs back to players, COVID, 17 games. They're wanting to kind of push the limits as much as they can to do as little as they can in the off season, because they're going to be doing more in season.
Larry Holder from theathletic.com/New Orleans. You took a stab in your column today at, actually that's a retweet from Cat Terrell, but I saw you tweeted it, about how the Saints will free up cap space and some of the other big question marks. Is your general assumption, like most, that they're going to get a long-term deal done with Ryan Ramczyk, Marcus Williams, maybe Marshon Lattimore?
I would think they'd have to get at least one of those done. Okay. But I'm not assuming that it will happen. Look, I think part of this is that the players actually have leverage in this situation. They don't have to budge if they don't want to. And I'm sure Marcus Williams, he's probably the most vulnerable in this situation because he's on the franchise tag and he is he's the least accomplished of the three players. So, if you're, say, Marshon Lattimore, who we're still wondering about his legal problems that happened earlier this year. But obviously, to me, he's still a top 10, 12 corner in the league. You don't want to let him walk. And Ryan Ramczyk, I'm sure he's looking for the moon, which he probably deserves to be, say, the highest paid right tackle in the league, something like that. So, I feel like that the Saints, if they were to give one of these players a long-term deal at this rate, they probably have to bend a little bit. And we know how they push things down the line. But still, it would be optimal that something like this happens. But at this rate, they can make minor moves and make things work. And then yet, when they go into the season, will have cap constraints. And I remember maybe it was a year or two ago where they had to redo a deal in the season just to make salaries work because a couple of guys got hurt. So, it was I know they don't want to get in that situation again, and yet they are so tied to the cap. It's really, I wouldn't say unprecedented, but this is one of the tighter problems that they've had in recent memory.
So even though they maybe need a receiver, you don't think they're going to do a deal for Julio Jones?
Yeah, I don't think Atlanta's going to send Julio to the Saints. I don't think Terry Fontenot, even though he probably owes Mickey Loomis a lot of drinks and dinners for helping to make him where he is today, or help make him where he is today. I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I look at wide receiver, and it's something that, we talk a lot about this offseason, a number 2 guy. I mean, where they are right now, they might need to just hope that Michael Thomas can reemerge and somebody else can actually be a viable number 2 within this offense.
He's on Twitter at Larry Holder, theathletic.com/New Orleans. So outside of quarterback, if they're not going to be on the field for OTAs, what is the position or player that you're most concerned isn't getting those reps before training camp?
I'll go through a couple of players.
Okay.
I'd probably point to Adam Troutman. I mean, look, he's only had 17 catches, 100-some-odd yards. They're asking him to jump from third-round pick, number 3 on the depth chart, to being the primary tight end. I know he's done some on-field work this offseason with Jameis Winston. We've seen some of the videos, but I think he needs as many reps as humanly possible with a new quarterback. I would look at whoever is going to be playing the number 2 corner. Maybe that guy isn't on the roster yet, but still, I think you want to see who you have there. Someone like Paulson Adebo. I mean, maybe if they're pondering someone like Patrick Robinson there. I mean, that's where we're talking, though, right now. Like, we talked about corner all offseason, and they draft a third-round guy, and they still don't have a set starter, and you're just kind of looking at the roster thinking, oh, my gosh, what if they ponder Ken Crawley again? Like, it's
no.
So I'm saying that in sort of jest, but he would make the roster right now, and you wouldn't think that. I mean, he was on the roster a little bit last year, but still, that's where you are when you look at the depth behind Marshon Lattimore. So, look, I think, someone like Pete Werner, too, if he's going to come in and play right away, you need every rep you can to learn the defense on field and going up against an NFL offense day in and day out in practice. So, that's why I'm hearing what Sean Payton's saying, and I don't know if I necessarily buy in that they won't be touching the field during OTAs and that mini camps won't be closer to normal. I just can't buy that. I really can't.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.